I thought I was in love, but maybe I was just trying to find myself in someone else. It was always the same story. I'd meet someone, feel that magnetic pull, intense electric irrational, and call it fate. But time after time, the pattern would reveal itself. The charm would sour. The chemistry would combust. And I'd be left in the ashes, asking the same question. Why do I keep choosing the same kind of person? Even when it never ends well. It took years and an accidental encounter with the writings of Jung for me to consider something far more unsettling. That it wasn't them. It was me. More precisely, it was the unconscious part of me, quietly running the show. Because what if love, that most intimate and cherished feeling, is guided not by conscious choice, but by ancient, buried patterns? What if who we're attracted to is really who we're trying to become? We all have a type. But type is just a euphemism for pattern. You tell yourself you're drawn to confidence, to kindness, to creative fire. But let's be honest, some of the people we've loved have been cruel, chaotic, even destructive, and still, the heart reached for them. Why? You might have called it chemistry, or karmic destiny, or bad luck. But in Jungian psychology, the answer is more sobering. Attraction is rarely random. It's a signal, a code dot, and often, a repetition of the unresolved. When I started really paying attention to the people I had dated, I noticed echoes not of them, but of me. My wounds, my fantasies, my shame. They weren't strangers. They were mirrors, as Jung wrote. Until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life, and you will call it fate. That line hit me like a confession. Because that's what it was. I wasn't falling in love with them. I was falling into a pattern. We all have a type. But type is just a euphemism for pattern. You tell yourself you're drawn to confidence, to kindness, to creative fire. But let's be honest, some of the people we've loved have been cruel, chaotic, even destructive. And still, the heart reached for them. Why? You might have called it chemistry, or karmic destiny, or bad luck. But in Jungian psychology, the answer is more sobering. Attraction is rarely random. It's a signal, a code dot, and often, a repetition of the unresolved. When I started really paying attention to the people I had dated, I noticed echoes not of them, but of me. My wounds, my fantasies, my shame. They weren't strangers. They were mirrors, as Jung wrote. Until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life, and you will call it fate. That line hit me like a confession. Because that's what it was. I wasn't falling in love with them. I was falling into a pattern. Let's get brutally honest. Love isn't just emotional, it's theatrical. We play role scripts we didn't write, often passed down like ghost stories from our parents, our past, our culture. Jung mapped out several core archetypes that sneak into our relationships. The lover who idealizes the hero, who rescues the mother who nurtures her, smothers the shadow, who triggers. These archetypes are neither good nor bad, but they are unconscious. And unconsciousness is the breeding ground of heartbreak. Maybe you've always been the rescuer, attracted to broken birds. Maybe you're drawn to danger, the shadow archetype, because safety feels boring. Or maybe, just maybe, you chase the unavailable, because love, to you, was always just out of reach. These archetypes feel familiar. That's why we chase them. But what's familiar isn't always what's healthy. Let me tell you a secret. I once fell in love with someone who didn't see me. Not in a metaphorical way, literally. They barely looked at me when I spoke. And yet I was obsessed. I thought it was passion, depth, a soul connection. It wasn't. It was a reenactment. See, I grew up with a parent who was emotionally distant. I learned to equate love with earning attention. And when I met someone who withheld that attention, my unconscious lit up. There it is. It whispered, "This feels like home." Only later did I understand. I wasn't attracted to them. I was attracted to the opportunity to redeem an old wound. I wasn't in love. I was trying to rewrite the past. So how do we break free? Enter shadow workings, term for the conscious integration of what we've buried. The shadow isn't evil. It's repressed. It holds all the parts of ourselves we've rejected. Anger, neediness, desire, vulnerability. But here's the paradox. What we reject in ourselves, we will chase in others. Or we'll fear it in them. When I began shadow work therapy, journaling, dream analysis, I realized that all the qualities I admired or hated in my partners were actually parts of me I hadn't accepted. The independence I envied. I feared my own loneliness. The chaos I craved. I suppressed my own wildness. The neglect I endured. I believed I deserved it. Shadow work showed me that romantic attraction wasn't a lightning strike. It was a map, and the landmarks were my own unconscious needs. Here's what no dating app will ever tell you. The people we're drawn to are often messengers, not of who we should be with, but of who we need to become. Love isn't just about connection. It's about confrontation with the deepest parts of ourselves. When you stop seeing romantic attraction as destiny and start seeing it as a mirror, everything changes. That magnetic pull, it's your unconscious saying, there's something here for you to learn. But once you've learned it, you don't need the lesson anymore. You don't chase the same chaos. You don't fall for the same mask. You begin to choose differently, not because your standards are higher, but because your soul is clearer. Now, when I meet someone, I ask myself, is this love, or is this a pattern? Am I drawn to their soul, or to my own unfinished story? And when I feel that deep, addictive pull, that old gravity, I don't run toward it blindly. I sit with it. I question it, because now, I know, I was always looking for the lost parts of me, not them, and the mirror I once shattered in desperation is finally whole. If you've ever seen yourself in someone else and lost a piece of yourself along the way, drop a comment below, even a single word. Sometimes healing begins when we speak the truth we've been avoiding. See you in the next video.